Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, it doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, even if you've broken your vow 1,000 times. Come, yet again, come. Rumi, my dog's sighing in the background. Welcome to the Threaded Caravan. My name's Teresa, and it's been quite a while since I've made a video. I was looking, I think it's been like 4 weeks, and it's because the second round was harder than the first, and it's taken me this long to feel good enough to do this. And tomorrow I get my third infusion, so I think I'll be back in the pit again. This is a space for accompaniment, a place where we can sit together in the midst of illness or uncertainty or grief. And nothing needs to be fixed here. Nothing needs to be resolved. And you're welcome to come as you are. And since the last time we were together, my husband shaved my head, and I was losing hair. I was losing a good bit of hair when it was longer, and I decided that I would just have it shaved off. So I've still been losing quite a bit of hair, but it's kind of less, not really traumatic, but it's less like a death of 1,000 cuts with it shorter, or with it gone, with it like this. And when I was little, my dad's dad, my paternal grandpa, he had a flat top and a belly, and I used to sit in his lap and rub his head and say I would like hair just like his and a belly just like his. And so you better watch what you wish for is what I'm thinking. So I've been sort of struggling physically and emotionally this last round, and I really am dreading the next round of chemo because I feel like it's kind of stacking, but I don't know if that's going to be what happens. Maybe I'll have an easier time than I'm anticipating this third round. It's certainly my hope. But I've been thinking a lot about kind of humor that has been right in the middle of all the mess, and I was thinking about just before I was diagnosed, I met with my primary care provider, who I really love and appreciate. I'm so thankful for her. She's excellent. And I shared with her about the lump that I was feeling and the pain that I was having, and she checked it, and we had a wellness visit, and I told her, besides that lump, I felt better than I had in 15 or 20 years. And looking back, or actually soon after that, when I found out that was likely a malignant tumor at my mammogram and ultrasound, and then later, within that week, when it was confirmed that sure enough it was malignant, and it's triple positive with a HER2 driver and very aggressive. I thought of like a Greek sort of tragedy about, the protagonist saying, I feel as good as I've ever felt, and then having bom, bom, bom. And so I've been thinking back to that, and kind of finding the humor in that. And then also at my port wellness check with the surgeon, that first appointment, or really not, well, the first appointment I had after I had the port placed, when they were checking the port, he comes in and he looks obviously concerned, and I thought it was healing up well, so I was kind of surprised. Then he said, I'm sorry that the port is so low. We typically like it to be a little higher for ease of access. And then he said, when you were lying down, the port was in the correct place. And what he didn't say, but we both understood, was that my body behaves very differently when it's horizontal than when it's vertical. And so gravity was not my friend. And I think that is part of why it pulls a little, and you can kind of probably even see in the video, because I think it's just the gravity of where it's pulled from where it's attached to my main vein there, or one of the main veins. And that same surgeon, he's really competent and very, very kind, but also quite formal. And the first time I ever met him was during the cancer board, and he said something, I can't even remember what he said, but I said, well, fuck. And I surprised my husband, I surprised him, I surprised myself most of all, probably. And his resident was standing just behind him, female resident, and he was completely non-reactive. And she gave me a little smile, and which I appreciated at the time. And then I shared with a friend, because I was embarrassed about what I had said, by text. I texted her, I'm like, crap, you'll never believe what I did. And she quipped back to me. She said, if you can't keep it classy, make sure you make it memorable, which has sort of been my mantra throughout this now. And then I shared with some other friends, and my friends really leaned right in, right? Friends and family. And I had one friend give me a Morse code necklace that says strong as, and then a friend who also sent me a hand-lettered beautiful sign, looks beautiful and sweet and everything, that says F this, or fuck this. And then I had my sweet niece gave me a crochet kit for a little duck, because of course duck cancer, right? And so I found some humor in that, and I felt like sort of the theme of this is like when your body and your mouth go off script. And it reminds me, I've been sending a lot, part of what I've been practicing to sort of hold on to gratitude during this has been sending cards to people, because I've received a lot of encouragement and sweet support and kindnesses, and it's been really a pleasure to write thank you notes to everybody. And because I do feel so much gratitude for just the cards and different things that people think to do, and I actually feel pretty indebted and a little overwhelmed by how indebted I feel sometimes, but I'm very grateful, and I don't want people to do too much, but I do want to practice gratitude for what people do for me. And so it's been really helpful or nice to write thank you notes. And I have a company that I love. It's called Tiny and Snail, and I'll try to, I don't know, maybe I'll try to see, I don't know how to link anything in the thing, but we'll see. But it's called Tiny and Snail, and the website is www.tinyandsnail with an A-N-D, snail.com. And let me see if I can read this, because they have a really beautiful story. It says, Tiny and Snail was established in 2017 and is run by a sister team, which I think is really sweet, Grace and Leah. We create joyful illustrations and believe that technology will never be as magical as a paper card. And I do agree with them about that. The road hasn't been easy. In 2018, Leah, who they call Tiny, was in a life-altering accident while working her day job, building homes for Habitat for Humanity, which left her paralyzed from the chest down. In that brutal time, Tiny and Snail provided a life raft for us to cling to. Our cards and the art reflect the wonder of life and the ability to shine light into dark days. And I think that's so beautiful. And I think their cards are beautiful too. And I thought this one sort of was applicable to my swear words, because I have been saying some of the swear words and doing a lot of praying. So all the swears and all the prayers sort of is fitting for me, because I think prayer has sustained me, both the prayers of people who love me and maybe my own prayers as well have been sustaining. So I guess if we were sitting together, I'd want to hear about when you've surprised yourself by sort of going off script, or even how I'd be interested in how you weather hard days, because sometimes in the middle of the hardest part of the after effects of chemo, I feel like I'm kind of lost. I can't really, don't really want to reach out or talk with anyone, or sort of want to hunker down, but I also kind of feel lost to myself during those most difficult periods. But then I kind of feel like it's like falling in a pit, and I get climbed back out, and hopefully, like I said, maybe this time it won't be so bad. The plan ahead, I had a biopsy. It was a needle biopsy last week, and got the results back, and it's benign. So that was really good news. And so it was of my adrenal gland, and had a little minor complication afterwards, hematoma. That was really painful, but ended up being not serious. But I was really thrilled about the benign, it coming back benign. And then, so it kind of means my treatment's on track for 6 rounds of that TCHP chemotherapy and immunotherapy combination for 6 times, and then healing up enough for surgery, and then having the surgery. And then what I'll be hoping for at that surgery is something called pathological complete response, where they don't find any evidence of cancer at the original site of my tumor. So that's what we're hoping for. And so this will be the 3rd one. And so after I get through the after effects, I'll be kind of halfway there, which sounds good and also like crap. I feel like I've been, it feels, how it is with things. Sometimes it has that place where it feels like it's been longer than it's been, not as long, but it's every 3 weeks. And then after, I think regardless of how that goes, whether I get to the PCR or not, I'll have 52, well, I'll have whatever the 3 times 6 is 18 minus 52 weeks of maybe only the immunotherapy instead of the immunotherapy and the traditional chemotherapy, or maybe just a bit of chemotherapy and not as much. But I'm thinking it's just going to be the immunotherapy, I think. I think whether I get to PCR depend on what kind of immunotherapy, but I'm not really clear on exactly how that will go. But I think some of the things I read said there's a little bit of chemotherapy in the immunotherapy, and then other things that I thought is that it won't. But I need to talk with my doctor about that. But won't have the chemotherapy, I'll just have the immunotherapy. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. The only real concern that I think I have with the immunotherapy is I've been having some preventricular contractions recently, because when I went to for the hematoma, and then I had a fever since I was at the ER for both of those, and I think that's a part of the immunotherapy, because the thing that drives the tumor, there's a protein, the HER2 positive protein, is also something your heart needs for, I don't know if it's regenerating or keeping it healthy or whatever. And so they do an echocardiogram, I think, every 3 months. So I have one in early April again. So I'm hoping everything's okay with that, so I can keep on taking the HER2 targeted immunotherapies. But that's kind of what's been going on with me, and I feel like I am sharing a lot because it's been a long time since we've been together. I really didn't feel like coming on and doing anything until just the last day or two, probably. I would have been able to do it yesterday as well, but I feel like there's this real rush to get everything done. Like, I'm going to try to clean up my sewing room today. We had to go into the hospital for blood work and to meet with a nurse practitioner. And then tomorrow is my infusion day. So I'm hoping to get some things done before, while I'm feeling better, actually. So, there was another thing I wanted to share too that's been helpful when I had nausea, because I think if people are watching who are going through a similar thing, that's probably a big deal. So far for me, it's been sort of the really bad taste in my mouth and the nausea and the diarrhea still is a bad side effect, and it's making my magnesium and potassium low. But anyway, this is called Not Now nausea, and the nurse practitioner looked at it today, and she thought it's okay to take, and it kind of helps. I still have a bad taste in my mouth, but it helps a little bit with a bad taste. Anyway, you do like 3 or 4 squirts. And it's got things in there like ginger and peppermint and orange peel and lavender flower. It's called Not Now. I always put it in the wrong place. Not Now nausea. Herbs on the go. So not a cure for the nausea, but definitely I definitely thought it was helpful when the taste was at the worst. And I've been chewing gum a lot, and eating lemon candy and trying to get rid of the taste. And this time, during the 2 traditional chemotherapies, I'm going to keep ice or something frozen. I froze some grapes too. Keep something frozen in my mouth to hopefully maybe insulate the tongue from that. I'm going to try it. Somebody said that it might work, and so I'm going to give it a try. And because I already put the gloves on my hands and the cold, they're like frozen mittens on my hands and frozen socks on my feet to try to keep the neuropathy down from those 2 sort of heavier chemotherapies. And so far it's working. I've only got just a little bit of neuropathy in my tips of my fingers, and I don't really feel any neuropathy in my feet. So I feel like that's working, but I'm going to give it a try with something cold in my mouth during those 2 infusions. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted and let you know if it makes a difference. I'm hoping it does, because really the taste has been pretty difficult. And I've been drinking like flavored water a good bit, trying to get enough water, because if you just drink regular water, it's the taste, putting lemon in water or having some of the hints or things like that have been helpful, I think. I've done a little bit of sewing, but I really haven't felt like doing a lot. But I want to sew today together, if it sounds good to you guys. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I do feel accompanied when I make these, because I feel like I'm talking with either people who are looking at what they have laid out in front of them, or people that kind of care about how it's going for me, and I appreciate the accompaniment. So even if you're here and it's not anything to do with cancer, but you just need a space to sort of breathe, I hope this feels like a place for that. The only thing that would make it better is a 2-way conversation. I've been sort of hunkered down, so I haven't really been hanging out with anybody except for my husband and our son, who has moved back in, our adult son, and I really enjoy their company, but I really haven't hung out with girlfriends or anything, and because I'm trying to be careful to not catch anything so that my immunity's reduced right now, and I want to stay on track, to have the chemotherapies happen or the infusions to happen at every 3-week intervals. So I'm trying to stay healthy so I can stay on track for that. But I've missed my friends, and I've enjoyed telephone conversations, and I had a FaceTime conversation with a friend, and we were so silly, and I laughed a lot, and I think it was good medicine, So in some ways, this feels like good medicine to me as well, and silly a little bit, and then also tender, So I think that's all I have, but I would like to sew together, and if you have anything you'd like to sew, please join me. Yeah, I'm just gonna pick a heart and kind of go around it, and then see how the time goes, and then I'm gonna plan to come back here afterwards, and I'm wondering if I should to say goodbye and thank you. So I might do it just from the stitching part. So I don't know, but I guess we'll figure it out as we go along. And I hope you have time as well, whether it's sewing or something else, to get out of your head. As the last homely house, I love her. She's on YouTube too. She does quilting, and I love watching her. And she's been really a comfort to me, Kate. And I've watched a lot of her videos because it's so calming. But she'll say that too about getting out of her head and into her hands. And it's my hope that you also have something that you can do, whether it's sewing or painting or crochet or knitting or something, that you can get out of your head and into your hands, because I think these are hard and chaotic and despairing times and for everybody right now. And so I'm hoping that you have a respite from that by having something that helps you feel out of your head too. So all right, I'm gonna switch the camera around, and then we'll be sewing together, or together as I sew. So thank you. Well, I got 2 hearts. One that I did, and I had a medical from when I was at the doctor's appointment today at the hospital, like a medical bracelet on that had protected health information on there. We tried to block it out, but unsuccessfully. Or we probably could have, but it would have been a lot of time and effort. And so I've just decided to sew another heart, which is good because I've not really worked on this any, like I was saying in the last, which you won't hear, but so I picked last time, earlier when I did this, I picked this heart, this blue heart, and quilted around it. And now I think I'm going to pick another blue heart. I didn't realize these 2 were so similar. They're not the same, but I do have 2 on here that are the same that I didn't mean to do. I think I'm gonna do I think I'm gonna do this one. I really like it. This is my needle keeper, and I like it a lot too. Andre set me up again. In the last video, I was bragging on him because he has been so wonderful through this whole everything. a lot of times edits with me. He's techie. So the videos, when I brag on him, he's edited them out in the past, but I'm really going to put my foot down and not let him edit out where I'm sharing what a gift it is to have him walk through this with me. He's so smart and organized, and we joke because he's engineer by training, so, or education. He has that kind of really analytical mind, and he's done a lot of project management. We joke that his project is Keep Teresa Alive 2026. And he does all these automations on the phone where he'll remind me to take the medicine, because there's a lot of kind of pre-meds to help with the side effects of the chemo and steroids and different things. Anyway, he keeps me on track, and I'm thankful for it because I have so much chemo brain, and even before I could blame it on the chemo, I'm kind of not as organized, a little bit scattered, and he's always been more organized, even tempered. He's real soothing to be around, and I'm so thankful for him. When we were eating dinner, little Andre and I got tickled because I was telling him about how the nurse practitioner, she's really nice, and everything. She's asking how I was doing, and I said, I'm doing pretty good, but the chemo is harder than I thought it would be, and I started crying, and I didn't mean to, but there it came, and she said, have you seen the oncologist for the oncology department? And I said, yeah, I've seen her once. She came when I was getting my infusion, and we had a good talk, and she was helpful and nice, and it's just nice to process some of it with her. And of course I have my social work and other friends who I've been processing with too, but it was helpful, and I got tickled because, I don't know, was it me or Lil Andre, she was like, the nurse practitioner was like, she didn't shut me down or anything, but it's like, let me point you towards somebody who's not me to talk with about this emotion, but it's definitely a case of where I didn't feel the tears coming, and then they were there. But I have been kind of weepy. There's a Maya Angelou quote. It says, and I'm not going to get it exactly right, but it says, may you, or may I don't know if she's talking to herself, or I hope to laugh as much as I cry. And that's my hope too. I'm kind of a crybaby. Or I can be pretty tender about things and cry, especially if, I don't know, different things. And but I do love to laugh too, and I appreciate humor. I grew up in a family that really did appreciate humor. We loved a story well told. We did know that we couldn't, wasn't cool to laugh at other people, at other people's expense. My parents were, unless they were telling the story on themselves, We had some fun times with people sitting around the dinner table telling funny stories on themselves. And I think it's that sense of common humanity, right? Like, we've all flown up, and it's funny. And there's a lot of humor to be had. My dad loved to laugh, and he loved to tell stories, and he could tell stories really good. He had a great laugh. I think one of the things I really enjoyed about my time with my mom when I was with her, trying to help just be with her and hang out while she was going through, she told some stories about her growing up years, and I loved listening to them. She had some good stories about her aunts and uncles and different impressions they had made on her and her own childhood, and it was really interesting to me. Some of them were funny and some of them were, tender. Stories and humor hold medicine, in my opinion. My mother's actually doing really well. This last time she went, she actually has her treatment, her meeting with her oncologist and treatment on Tuesday coming up. I'm so thankful my sister and her husband are going to go down and accompany her, take her to that appointment and be with her afterwards. And the last time she went, she got the immunotherapy by shot instead of infusion, so it was a lot quicker. She had a lot less side effects. She wasn't having many with just the immunotherapy, but she noticed even fewer with the immunotherapy shot. So we're hoping they do that every time. So that's cool. She's doing really well. And I appreciate my sister and brother-in-law so much. I miss being able to help. But things are what they are. And I'm so thankful they're able to and willing to go hang out with my mom. Our mom. They have a good visit. There's a little chapel. It's called St. Michael Shrine, I think, that we found in Tarpon Springs. I was reading a book. I don't even remember the name of the book now. And they mentioned it, and I thought, oh, Tarpon Springs is close to my mom, and we found a lot of solace at that little shrine or chapel when I was with my mom. I got to talk briefly with my brother this past week too, and it was nice. He was at work, so I didn't get to talk long with him, but I got to hear his voice and hear his laugh. My mom thinks he laughs like her daddy, my Papa Garner. It's funny when people go on, it's the stuff like laughter that we miss. I know. That's how it is with my dad's big laugh. He had a big laugh, and I miss it. He had a big voice. I love these blues. Last week I sent a quilt. Well, Andre took it to the post office for me, but I sent a quilt to It was a quilt that I had made some time ago, the quilt top, but I just hadn't sent it off to get quilted, and I sent it off to Julia, the long arm quilter that I use, who does beautiful work. And I'm always so excited when I send something off to her, because she turns sometimes weird, wonky things that I make into beautiful things with her quilting. And she texted me today that she got the backing, and she had texted me earlier that she'd gotten the quilt top, so I'm anxious to see what different ideas she has about how it might be best quilted. She usually sends me a couple of different pantos, I think is what she calls them, but the designs. And then sometimes I choose, sometimes I say surprise me. She always picks something really pretty. I was so tickled to get it back. I was thinking about how before I guess I was probably feeling the pain because I've been feeling it for some time, but I just thought maybe it was a cyst, because I have had that before, where I had some breast pain, and I was at my mom's actually when I first started feeling it. But probably even before that. I don't know if it was before that, around that time, but I wasn't thinking that it was anything bad, really. I was wondering what was going on, but not too concerned about it. But I started kind of having this thought, a scripture that kept coming up for me, and it was some that I had years and years ago. I took a lot of Beth Moore studies, but one Beth Moore study that I had taken was called Mercy Triumphs Judgment, or Mercy Triumphs Over Judgment. And in that study, Beth Moore asked us to memorize James. And I'm not sure I memorized all of it, but I did really work on it a lot. And the scripture that kept sort of popping in my head when I'd fallen asleep or waking up was I think it's in James, the 2nd chapter, but it was, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind or many kinds, because you know the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. And I think that scripture that I memorized was a gift to me, the remembrance of it, or the recollection, in so much as when the bad news did come, and as the trials have presented. Wow, I have a big knot now there. Let's see if I can do something with it. It's kind of been a good reminder that this challenge can help me toward the goal, my heart's desire, really, to grow in grace and mercy and wisdom, and who doesn't want to be mature, right, in one's faith and one's love. And so that is just going to have to be a mistake, I think, here in my thing. What am I going to do with that? Let's see. I'm going to take this off the needle and see if I pull it out. So anyway, I was thankful that that God brought that into my memory, and that I had memorized that scripture. And that I do feel like it has been a comfort to me. And a promise that I've held to, right? Like, this will be redeemed. And that's my belief. I think all suffering is redeemed. I don't know how that works, or I don't even know why I believe that, but I do believe it for all of us. Yeah. Some things don't bother me. That might bother others, but I think failures of mercy, it's not I want to mature in a way that I live loving and merciful. Got a long way to go to mature for sure, but it is my heart's desire. It's like Thomas Merton says, though, even when we think we're moving, we don't know, if we're going in the direction that we're supposed to be going in. Oh, I tried to fix that. I'm not sure it's going to be the best stitch. We'll see. I've been really trying to hunker down. And I wonder if some of my sadness or depression is because I've been very isolated. Because I don't want to get sick. I want to keep moving through the treatments to get through them on schedule so that we can see if I got to PCR and not give the cancer, a chance to grow. So a piece of that is staying healthy enough to get the chemo. And I know my immunity is down. One thing I did feel good enough to do this week, and I'm really thankful that I did and the kids were able to, but we, before I was getting chemo, most weekends, we tried to do it either Saturday or Sunday evening. We would play a game with our younger son who's in Nebraska. It's a tabletop game that you can play on tabletop, but there's a tabletop simulator thing that we play online. It's a little bit like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's called Frosthaven. It's a role-playing game. And we got to play it this Sunday. It was so fun. And I felt good enough, and they were able to, and I just enjoy it because it's like a 3-hour, usually about 3 hours. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. But anyway, during that time we get to visit and catch up and talk, and it's so good. So we had a good visit. I hadn't really filled up to doing it, and then they had also had a couple of things, so we had been some weeks since we hadn't been able to do it. It was so nice. I'm so thankful for that time when we have with the kids. so thankful for both of our boys. And I think it was like July, I was sharing with our oldest kiddo that I was wanting to find something to exercise. Like I was looking for a exercise that I would consistently do, because I'm bad about just finding exercise kind of tedious. And we do walk our dog, but it's, it's a slow, he likes to sniff, and it's not really good exercise. It's more just a walk. But our oldest son had the great idea about starting swimming in July, and I really enjoyed it and took to it. I was so thankful that he had recommended it. He's like, "Mom, you like to swim, and why don't you just join the Y and go swimming?" And I thought, oh, what a great idea. Give it a try. I mostly just putzed around the swimming pool, but I've always loved the swimming pool. But I took his advice and I tried to do laps. His sweetheart she swam in college, and she's an excellent swimmer. And I thought, oh, I could try laps. And anyway, I did, and it was so nice, and I felt very, supported in the water, and I was having fun. And I think the day before, I had the mammogram, which turned into the ultrasound, which turned into the biopsy, where the radiologist said that it looked very, very suspicious for malignancy, just the way it looked. And of course, that we'd have to wait until the pathology report came back, which came back not quite a week. I think I had the mammogram and the biopsy on a Tuesday. The results mercifully came back on the Friday, so it didn't have to wait like the Friday before Christmas. The Friday not before Christmas, but the week before Christmas. So anyway, it was a blessing. But anyway, the day before, I swam a mile. And I was so proud of myself, because I had worked up to a mile, and I thought, okay, now I can swim a mile from now on. And of course, now my oncologist says it's not really, he doesn't want me to swim because it's dangerous about the catching something with my immunity so low, which is totally understandable. And I'm not even sure I'd fill up to swimming hardly. And it'd be hard to do the laps and to sustain any sort of momentum. But I'm missing it like crazy, and I was so proud of myself and feeling strong, really empowered. I guess the good news is if I have the mastectomy like I'm thinking I'm going to have, I'll be more water dynamic, like a little missile. I can swim. Once I work up to it, maybe I'll swim faster or further. I don't know, maybe I'll be able to swim after the mastectomy when I'm just doing the immunotherapy. Maybe it won't affect my resilience or immunity in a bad way. Maybe I'll be able to do it again. I'm sure at some point I'll be able to re-engage with that, since I really, really did enjoy it. What I've done here is I did go around the heart, and then I did the horizontal line here in between the hearts. I'm doing the horizontal line here. These vertical lines I quilted with the machine just to stabilize it before I did the hearts. I probably could have pinned it, but it just seemed easier to do that. I don't mind the combination. I've got Felix's hair here. Felix is our cat. He's a good boy, but he is furry like Bear. Between me when I was losing hair and the animals, we were a mess. Some of this might be mine, and I blame it on Felix. I like this background. These little, look like wind, those little swirly-gig things that turn in the wind. The other thing this helped with, I had shorts on because I'd been sitting out on the patio and enjoying the sunshine on my legs. And anyway, when I was doing the thing, it was not only my bracelet that kept showing, it didn't look like I had any pants on. It's like, girl, where's your breeches? But of course I had shorts on. But I've put some pants on now. So. Yeah, if we were together now, I'd be wondering what funny stories, times when you've faced something serious, but there was humor there, or things got flubbed up, or you did something embarrassing or unexpected, or life was funny. I like the way the heart puffs up a little when you quilt around it. I really haven't worked on this hardly any. I thought I would do more, but I haven't taken it to chemo like I was thinking I would do, because I have a bag. It's so nice, and I've got it filled with nice markers given to me by my sweet niece, and beautiful color books, and some books that I need to get my attention enough to focus on and read. But I have a lot of different things to do when I'm at chemo, and I haven't taken this with me. Even though it's kind of a long day. I think tomorrow I'll get there at 8, and last time, 3 weeks ago, I think we left at like 3:30. So it's a long day, but it goes by good because my nurse is really sweet. The infusion nurse that I have, I feel really fortunate to have her. I am actually making a little gift for her. I might take a picture of it, and I don't know if I'm going to turn it into a tote bag or a little zipper bag, but I was able to foundation paper piece. Let me see if I can get it. I probably won't be able to reach it. My sewing room is such. Yes. Let's see. I don't know if you can see this, but it's supposed to be. It's a foundation paper piece, and the people who designed these are crazy smart. It says hair on it too. Everything in my life is hairy. But I don't know if I'm going to make a zipper bag or a little tote bag out of this, because she ran the Boston Marathon. She's a runner, so I try to do a running girl. I need to trim it up. So I don't know if I'm going to make a tote out of it, or just a little zipper bag. It won't be a little zipper bag because this block is 12 by 12. It needs to be trimmed to 12 by 12. But anyway, I'm proud of her, and I really like her and appreciate her. And I'm going to probably do another other side to say Gabby goes the extra mile. I'm going to embroider goes the extra mile. I've got the letters to applique on for her name. Anyway, so it took me a long time to do this, even though it's pretty simple foundation paper piecing, but I'm just not on my game. So, but I'm glad I'll work on it in between now and maybe while I'm still feeling good before the effects hit. I mean, not now tonight, but maybe tomorrow, and then the next day or two I'll feel okay probably to work on it, and then maybe a couple of days before my next infusion, if it's like this time, I can get some done and have it to her. But I'll show you maybe in the next video, or take a picture of it if it's not, the timing's not right, what I decide to do with it. But I really do appreciate her. She's an excellent nurse, and just kind of like what you would want in a nurse. Smart, attentive, not intrusive or bossy, or I don't know. She's just really nice and very competent. And I hope she likes it. And I thank you for being with me while I did this. And I know it doesn't make any sense, but I do feel accompanied. It's like across time and space. And I pray and hope, I really hope that you also feel it. It's not one way, that you too feel accompanied in whatever's happening with you, or what you're going through, or just life. And that you feel it too. And I'm not sure when I'll do this again. I thought it was going to be weekly, but here we are 4 weeks between now and the last time I did it. But thank you if you're watching this, or I don't know. I appreciate it, and I hope you're doing well. And I think my big hope for us both is that we each have the opportunity, or all maybe, to laugh as much as we cry, and maybe lots more than we cry. And that I hope life is kind to you between now and next time we're together. And thank you so much for being with me.